my graph. And I could have kept putting more and more points if I wanted to, but I just went ahead and stuck with 3. So that's all there is to it when we're converting word problems to equations, equations to tables, and tables to graphs. So we're going to do a couple practice problems next. All right, so here are the practice problems. What I would recommend is pausing this video first, go through these couple practice problems, and then start it, and you'll be able to see me work these out. So go ahead and pause it, try to attempt a couple of these practice problems, and then press play whenever you're ready to see how you did. All right, here we go. Number 1. Franny orders 2 DVDs per month from her DVD club. She already has 8 DVDs. Create the equation, table, and graph that shows the relationship between the number of months X and the total number of DVDs Y that Franny has. All right, so I like starting off by creating my equation first. I'm going to look for my M value and I'm going to look for my B value. My M value is going to be the value that's close to the word each, every, or per, at least most of the time. So I'm looking for the word each, every, per, and voila, I found per. Says Franny orders 2 DVDs per month. So now I know that my M value is going to equal 2. Now I want to look for my B value. My B value represents like a debt that I had or just a starting point. So either, I was owing something or I started off with something. And luckily enough, in that second sentence, we figured out what our B value was. It says she already has 8 DVDs. So she already has 8 DVDs. That 8 represents our B, which is our beginning point. So now I can write my equation. For linear relationships, the equation that we use is y is equal to mx plus b. And we just figured out what our m was, which is 2. We're going to plug in that x. And then our b value is positive 8. So we're going to put plus 8. And that's all there is to it when we're creating the equation. Our next step is we are going to make a table. So I like to have my x value. Then I'm going to leave a space to write out my equation. You could actually put y is equal to mx plus b right here if you want to. And then my y value. All right. I'm going to do, and then of course with our x values, I like starting off with regular counting numbers. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to go 3 rows deep. All right. And now I'm going to plug in my x values in the equation. So we're going to have y is equal to 0, x plus, oh, I'm sorry, in that top portion, instead of putting y is equal to mx plus b, we should just put the equation that we're actually using. So I apologize. I know I seem perfect at times, but even us perfect people make mistakes too. All right, so we're actually just going to put 2x plus 8. I knew I did something wrong. All right, and now we're just going to go ahead and plug in our x values. So I have 2 times 0 plus 8. I have 2 times 1 plus 8, 2 times 2 plus 8, and then 2 times 3 plus 8. And then whatever our outcome is, whatever our product is what our y value is going to be. So 2 times 0 is 0, plus 8 is going to equal 8. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 8 is going to equal 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 8 is 12. And then 2 times 3 is 6, plus 8 is 14. All right, so now we have our equation, we have our table, and the last thing is our graph. Remember, when we're making our graph, we're just going to get ordered pairs. So we're going to have our x value first, and then our y value. All right, on the first one, 0 and 8 would be together. Oh, so 0 and 8. The next one, 1 and 10 would be together. And then 2 and 12. And then 3 and 14. All right. So now I'm going to start off with 0 and 8. Remember, the bottom line is your x-axis, and then the line going up is your y-axis. I don't know why I keep clicking that. So I'm going to start off with 0, and I'm going to go up to 8 and put a dot right there. That represents 0 and 8. Then I'm going to go to 1 and 10, 2 and 12, and then 3 and 14. And now I'm just going to draw a straight line going through all that, and you can put a little arrow there. And that represents our graph. So there you go. We create an equation, a table, and a graph out of all of that. Fun stuff. All right, looking at the next one, it says Michael has $35 in his lunch account. He spends $2.50 every day on lunch. Write an equation that represents how much money Y in his lunch account after X number of days. All right, so on this one, we're just looking for equation. We don't have to do all of them. Remember, with the equation, we're looking for our M, and then we're also looking for our B. So the M represents the movement, and then B represents that beginning point. I'm going to start off by looking for the M. Remember, when we're trying to find our M, we like looking for keywords. So each, every, and per. I'm looking through this, and I see every's right here. And the value closest to every is $2.50. So I could say M is equal to, and I'm just going to write 2.5. All right, M is equal to 2.5. And then we like to look for our starting point. The first sentence says Michael has $35 in his lunch account. So that 35 would represent our beginning. All right, so he's not starting off with 0. He's starting off with $35 in his account. All right, so his starting point is going to be 35. Our equation is y is equal to mx plus b. All right, and now we know our m value, which is 2.5, and then our b value, which is 35. All right, so y is equal to 2.5x plus 35. That's all there is to it on that one. Number 3, Dylan is building a deck for his brother. He's charging $250 for all the supplies and $250 for all the supplies and $50 for each hour he works to build it. Which table represents the relationship between Y, the total money Dylan charges, and X, the number of hours it takes him to complete the deck? All right, so let's think about this. So he's charging $250 for the supplies, and then he charges $50 for each day. I'm going to go ahead and make an equation. I feel like right now the equation is a great starting point for a question like this. We know the equation that we use is y is equal to mx plus b. All right. We find m, which is the movement, by looking for keywords like each, every, and per. And I found the word each right here, and the closest value to that is 50. So now I know that my m is going to be 50, and our starting point is $250 because right off the rip, he's charging you $250 for the supplies. You're not going to get the supplies for free, man. Nothing comes. So he's charging you for that already. Now we have our equation. So all you would do on this problem is you can take the number of hours. So in this scenario, it says in 1 hour, you spent $250. So we're going to take 1 and we're going to substitute x with 1 and see if this is true. So in place of x, we're going to have 1. So it's going to be 50 times 1 plus 250, and it should equal 250 if this is true. But let's see. 50 times 1 is 50. 50 plus 250 is actually 300. So let's look at all the values. Let's look at all the options that are saying that $300 is how much money is going to be spent in 1 hour. This first table says that $250 is going to be spent. The second table says that $300 is going to be spent, so that one can stay. The second one says $300 is going to be spent, so that can stay as well. This fourth one, however, says $350 is going to be spent, so that one's gone. So now we're down to 2. What I like to do is I like to find matching numbers in the X column and see if they have the same value. At 3 hours here, it says that $350 was spent. At 3 hours here, it says that $400 was spent. Only one can be right. So let's go ahead and plug in 3 for X. And let's see which one is right. All right, so 50 times 3 is going to get us 150. 150 plus 250 is going to get us 400. All right, this one's saying that at 3 hours, $350 is going to be spent, which is wrong. That makes the third table the only option. All right, last one, number 4. Rodolfo has 15 toys in his toy box. He adds 2 new toys every month. Based on this information, which represents based on this information, which representation best shows the relationship between the number of toys Rodolfo has in his toy box, Y, and the number of months that have passed? All right. So the first thing we want to do is write an equation. At least that's what I like to do. It says that he adds 2 new toys every month. So I know that my M is going to be 2. And he already has 15 toys. So 15 is going to be my B. Our equation is Y is equal to 2X plus 15. All right. So what we could do here, we could start off with this table and see if this table is true. All right. This table says that when X is at 4, Y is going to be 8. The way we know that is by plugging in plugging in 4 for X. So I'm going to do 2 times 4 plus 15. 2 times 4 gets me 8. 8 plus 15 is actually 23. So we know this one's wrong. All right. The next one that we could look at are our 2 graphs. So B and D. I'm going to look at these 2 graphs. We start off with 15 toys. Since we started off with 15 toys, our graph is not going to go through the origin. All right. The only way our graph would go through the origin is if we started off with 0 toys altogether. So that makes this one incorrect. Now we're left with 2 options. We have B and we also have C. I'm going to look at C. All right. I know that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and look at our X values and I'm going to substitute. All right. So X times 2, and I'm saying X times 2 because I'm substituting, I'm sorry. Our X value is at 1 right here. I'm going to substitute X with 1. So I'm going to do 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 15, and that gets me 17. So that's right so far. Now X is at 4. I'm going to do 2 times 4 and then add 15. 2 times 4 is going to get me 8, plus 15 is going to give me 23. So that's incorrect. Now the only one left is going to be B. All right, let's just double check B. When X is at 0, Y should be at 15, which is correct. When X is at 4, Y should be at 23, which is correct. So we know those 2 points at the very least are correct so far. which is more correct than any of those other ones were. So that's all there is to it. It's pretty simple. If you guys have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me or any one of the 7th grade math teachers. All right, have a great day.